Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the North American LCS Summer Split. I'm back in the history right now.
I mean, we've had some pretty good games.
So many good games today. I'm lost. We're prepping for the Rift and our next match, Complexity versus Team CRS. Last game of the day for Challenger Series. And right now, these teams are only separated by one game. It's kind of been a story today.
Yeah. Thankfully for CRS, this is actually the easier part of their schedule they've been waiting for. In their first 5 games, they faced the 5 top teams in the LCS. Last week, we saw COP and X Special playing together in the lane instead of having X Special lane with Quas. It yielded some pretty good results.
Right.
With more time playing together, we will continue to see X Special return to an all-star level, or at least that's what CRS hopes. And honestly, after TSN lost today to LMQ, CRS winning this one would actually tie them with TSM, which is something X Special definitely wants to do.
He would love to get a win. Meanwhile, Complexity has gotten their leader back with Prolly returning to the mid lane.
Yeah, and the team will benefit from having their shot caller back in a big way. In their game against Evil Geniuses, Complexity looked completely disorganized and uncertain on how to counter or react to any of EG's moves. Also, one thing we have to note is Broken Shard is out this week, and they're still not going to be with their full starting lineup. Filling in, it's going to be Kez, who is playing with the Challenger team. Who else? Cloud9 Tempest. They seem to have the whole team coming into the LCS. We'll see how well he can synergize with Prolly and the rest of the team. Absolutely.
And the road for Complexity to make it into the LCS has been long and hard. But for their support, Bubba Dub, it wasn't a journey he made alone.
Being a pro gamer is something I've always wanted to do. I decided to basically go hard playing League of Legends because I like the game so much. Stephanie and I met in college. Before we got serious, I basically said that I wanted to do this at some point in my life.
Going into professional gaming for him was, how do I convince me that this is something we should do? At the time, the first response was, hell no.
Our original plan was I would save up from working full-time for about a year.
We sat down and we mapped out how long does it take to go pro. Financially, can we support it? A lot of our financial decisions were made based on that. We bought a house with the expectation that we tried to bring up a team in-house.
She turned into the breadwinner, but things got a little tense when that happened because that wasn't part of the plan.
We still have bills to pay. We have a mortgage to pay. We have bills.
I know he was under a lot of financial stress, and despite investing a lot of time and money with no results, his wife stood by him and supported him.
Not everybody dreams, and I say this because I don't dream. I was raised to take whatever life gave at you and then just run with it. Dreamers get you what people like Bubba's doing.
A very nice sidestep is winning them this lane. The Ignite's ticking. One more. First blood. Bubba Dub.
When we made it into LCS, she was really happy for me, and I could see that. Distinctly remember going over and hugging her and kissing her.
I'm absolutely proud of him. I'm so glad that he's made it this far.
He does spend a lot of time playing this game, and I know that can take a toll on a lot of relationships. So I was really happy, he found someone that is appreciative of what he does and can encourage him, because she's very encouraging.
We have to get adjusted to our new lifestyle because I'm no longer living in the house. It's a bit tough. We need to figure out times to call each other and stuff like that.
I am planning to be here for every single game that he's playing. Our entire crew is coming in Lulu hats and stashes.
Having her support on game day means a lot to me.
It is amazing to be able to be there and then to be cheering for him.
No matter what happens, whether I continue playing League of Legends or not, we're gonna stick together. It's good to know that she supports me no matter what I do.
Fantastic story, and absolutely what every player should have coming into the League of Legends. We haven't seen too many married players coming in, but
yeah, definitely here to watch the game again this weekend. So everything went according to plan.
All right, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Complexity. In the top lane is West Rice. Kez filling in the jungle. Prolly in mid lane. Robert X Lee at AD carry, and Bubba Dub at support.
And on the red side, it is CRS with Quas in the top lane. I will dominate in the jungle. Voidboy in mid, Cop on AD, and X Special on support.
And hopefully Complexity gets, just the team support they need coming in again. So early in the year to have 2 subs is definitely something that is going to just play on the team's mentality when you go into games, because you want the best of everything, but then you kind of have to make sure it happens.
Really want to see how Kez does as well. One thing to note, he's actually the oldest player playing in the LCS today, 27 years old for this guy. So he is at least experienced in life, even though this is his debut on the LCS stage.
Absolutely.
And this is also an interesting game because this marks the final matchup as far as every team playing each other once this split. After this game, everyone will have played each other once, and that'll be your first go at the big round robin we're basically playing 4 of throughout the season.
You can kind of just predict maybe what's going to happen along the road, but after today, I don't know if those predictions can really be made with who won, how they won, and just how well the games played out in each team's favor. Now, on to Complexity versus Curse. We're into Champion Select. See that Cassidy getting banned out, and Elise. I would just go down the line of the regulars. We've been seeing a lot of different play styles from both of these teams. None that really kind of show us who they're going to bring to the table for the rest of the split.
A lot of jungle bans actually coming up from Complexity. Targeted I will dominate, even though he's played mainly Eve. And not too much success, to be completely fair. Maybe they just want him to pick Eve, and they're guaranteeing such by banning these other junglers.
He did stick to Pantheon a lot in the beginning of the spring split, so maybe he just kind of hovers on that champion, feels very comfortable on it, and mentally wise, likes to go in playing that. Orianna coming out, probably making game-changing plays with the command shockwaves in most of his games.
And Voyboy as well, the mid laner for Curse. He's been playing really damn well. Really, the whole Curse team kind of feels like he's stepped up his game. He was a little bit suspect in the spring split, but he's honestly probably been the highest performing member of Curse this split.
It's been a long road for him, and he's actually been really able to get through and work for a lot. We knew Special would be a big voice in the team, but Voyboy dominating everybody else. Make sure that it happens the way they want, and they actually were discussing that Evelyn ban that you said. Dominate's been picking up.
Yeah, they were trying to theory craft why Complexity would ban those junglers. They were saying maybe they just want to pick Eve and leave Dominate with nothing.
Or force him to first picking a jungler, and it looks like
they have to first pick the Lee Sin there. If we're going by the standard, there are 4 junglers to play.
Absolutely.
At this point, though, I'll dominate. Maybe Vi would be his next choice. He's played a lot of it in the past.
Nocturne, something.
Yeah.
We'll see what he decides to bring out. Maybe Volibear. Who knows?
Xin Zhao.
Yeah,
he's played a lot of it.
Quas to pick up. Quas has about like a 5 set of champions that he'll go through and play. Haven't seen him on Aatrox in a while. Trundle, Shyvana. A lot of top lane has been left open this week. There's just so many more bans to be had lately.
There's still Lulu available as well. That's kind of what Voyboy
that's right.
has played a lot of. Quas can also play it. It's another big thing for him in the top lane. And there's our 2 soul laners right off the bat.
Curse definitely puts a lot of strength into those lanes, and Voyboy on the Yasuo usually tries to be very mobile, but can be a game changer, and that's exactly what they need from their mid lane here.
Big plays. Curse is a team that definitely goes in together. Something you need to be able to do on Yasuo. He's going to try and make some big plays. I distinctly remember their game against TSM where he almost won the game by flash dashing into the team and trying to knock everyone up, but a Soraka silence hit him. And he just died immediately. Most likely no Soraka in this game because we were on the 4.8 patch. The star call damage was reduced significantly in that patch. Probably trying to figure out what he gets to play against Yasuo because they can pick that right now if they want.
Probably's champion pool is quite Olympic. He can come out with anything. He discusses, go ahead, pick the AD carry support. I want to see what more they have on the side of Curse before I round out our mid laner.
Yeah, Lucian Thresh, probably the 2 most solid picks you could do at this point. Not much you can pick against them and expect to have a favorable matchup. Cobb has the choice of either going with one of his old picks like a Caitlyn or an MF, or just trying to answer with Twitch, the thing most people answer with.
Yep. He's actually got quite a good AD champion pool. We've seen some Draven from him in the past as well. Corki's in that lineup as well. Played that stuff all the way back at IPL quite a bit. And everybody's been picking up some Corki lately. And we actually see the Pantheon coming back in. So we'll go back to that.
Reaching back to the spring split.
Yeah.
With that Pantheon pick. See how I will dominate fares. His early ganks definitely heavily going on probably for Voyboy in the mid lane. Pantheon Yasuo synergy.
Bird was the word in our hashtag LCS big plays from Europe. But is Bird the word for Prolly?
Yeah, there's no Froggins in North America. EG did move over, but they didn't.
Yeah. Waiting on the lock-in. So a tribute hover, if you will, to that play of Froggen in the EU. And we get a Renekton and an Annie lock-in coming in for Prolly. Prolly brought out Annie the first time he played with Complexity in the LCS and said, because I wanted to.
Way back in the spring of 2013, he was like, yeah, I'm just going to play Annie. Looking at this team for Complexity now, they're going in, basically. A lot of flash initiations expected from Prolly's Annie in the mid lane. Exciting, exciting times. We haven't seen this in a real long time. We just did a fist bump for those.
I'm super excited. I'm ready. Fist pump indeed. Big special now to finalize a last pick here coming in the top, or support actually I should say. Quas is going to take that in the top lane, and it's going to be a Leona.
Yeah.
So stun to stun. Yeah.
Fighting fire with the power of the sun. So Curse is just going in this game. Leona, Yasuo, Pantheon, right into Complexity. If these guys... This has the potential to be an incredibly high kill game if one team doesn't just snowball out of control. There's a lot of early game power on both sides, not necessarily a tremendous amount of late game scaling, which could also have the random side effect of the game actually going late because either team will be like, yeah, they're not very good late either. We can just go for it. But, you know, this game, even though it's between two teams that are kind of lower in the standings, looks like it's going to be pretty damn exciting.
And I'm eyeing that. Robert actually still has Ignite on with his support going into that lane. So you say it's going to be a high kill game. It'll be very high kill. The champs are locked in and loading. So let's check who you think will come out on top. And right now, according to LOL Esports, Curse is ahead with 75% of the vote on Complexity. But if you start to second guess your pick, it's happened in a few games. You can head over to Twitter.
Yeah, there's already been one tremendous upset today. Send the hashtag COL win or CRS win to @LOL Esports. We'll be updating the pool. We also update the pool, you know, throughout the game if someone does start turning it around. When Complexity beat Cloud9, by the end of it, there were more hashtags for COL win over Cloud9.
And we did have a change. It actually went back to heal right before they loaded it into the game. So be a switch up for the lane there. Not a ton of kill pressure going down, but I thought they might have been doing something cheeky. We'll still have to see. We haven't really had the 2v2 matchup anyways all day, so we'll see what these teams have for each other. Coming into this game, the mid lane, obviously, Prolly's back with shot calling, but is it enough to rein in Kez in his play style in the game?
I mean, Kez is someone who does play quite well. He was one of the stronger players on Cloud9 Tempest. It's honestly, really, it was a big surprise when Cloud9 Tempest didn't make it in favor of Evil Geniuses because Evil Geniuses just seemed to have more experience. It seemed like that team kind of choked in the promotion tournament. We've seen tremendous success. Alltech has really been one of the big stars of EG once he started joining. Glebe has had his ups and downs, but has had some big games. And now Kez has his chance to shine, even though it's only temporary. Broken Shard is expected to be back.
Right. Curse fans in the crowd, loud and proud with their Curse signs, and Complexity to make it out of base with their fans behind them as well. Starting off, a lot of the early games have just been simple trades, sometimes not even, just the early wards and then backing to figure out where the 2v no lane is going to be.
Or if we have a 2v no lane.
That's true.
This could be the type of game where you see the Leona Corki actually going up against the Lucian Thresh. Of course, in Complexity's victory, Robert actually had a BF sword of 4 minutes because they got a very early triple kill. Do not expect that to happen again. But this is a big game where they kind of circle it on their schedule to say, where can we pick up the wins? And both these teams with a pretty good shot here.
Curse has done this quite a few times, leaving Cop to dance around in the middle, making sure that they see anybody on the left or the right here. Good ward coming in outside of the brush for Dominate, and they keep themselves safe. So really no invade here, unless Curse is going to huddle up in this top side and then head in.
Yeah, so delayed invades. Ooh, Complexity fans abound. A lot of personality on that Complexity team.
Yeah.
As well. We'll get to their stories at some point throughout the year. Everyone really had a long journey into the LCS. Curse as well, very experienced players across the board. Voidboy, Kopek, Special. Even Dominate, all part of the Season 2 competitive scene of League of Legends.
Yeah. Definitely come a long way, and credit to all the players who have multiple times tried to get in, haven't been able to, and then are back into the LCS. It's a long road, and to have a team stay together that long is not an easy task whatsoever. A lot of things can happen in 6 months, or 3 months, I should say. So we start off the game. Curse will go in for the blue. We'll get the regular starts off as usual, as it has been.
Yeah, and the 2v0s.
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder how this is going to affect Prawley's mid lane Annie play. Because Annie is actually a very dangerous mid laner with very good gank support if they go aggressive. So maybe if Complexity wants to do the roam mid to help Prawley, it's going to have to be with his stun, but he's very vulnerable to exactly this.
That is going to be first blood coming in onto Prawley. He didn't flash on that. He knew he was going down quick.
Yeah, I didn't have time to set it up. It happened too fast. I was going to say Prawley is just a sitting duck out there with Annie, especially as soon as he goes a little bit aggressive. And with the 2v0s on both sides, you have the potential for 3 roamers on both sides. Not to mention, I will dominate as a Pantheon jungler, loves to camp mid lane. That's what we thought he was going to do the instant he locked that in. Probably had to play more passive at the start of that game, and he paid for it.
Well, there's sometimes, not really, I was going to say there's sometimes a good thing for having it happen so early because there's a lot to happen in the rest of the game, but man, that was fast. Dominate was hungry for that with the rest of the team, and they're going to try to probably do it again quite soon here.
Yeah, at least he didn't burn the flash. So
right.
He could still potentially escape the last one, and Dominate did burn his flash.
That's
and
true.
also because it was so early, it wasn't even worth the full amount of gold because we're not hit 4 minutes yet. First blood is still a diminished amount.
Complexity, as they have in the first split they played, and now in the second split they're back in the LCS, going for a very early dragon.
It's a 3-minute and 30-second dragon in almost every game today.
Yep.
I actually expect tomorrow teams will start countering that a little bit because it's just too much to give up early.
Again, towards the mid lane. They have the slow now with Quas here. The 4-man towards mid, but probably now uses the flash to get out of this one alive.
Yep.
Focus and look at how much Curse is going to be bringing to that mid lane. It might not be too many more times.
They really want him.
Or they'll do it again.
Yeah. This time, though, I mean, Expecial would have to flash and then land a nice skill shot, and probably is way ahead of this game. Cheating that side of the map, of course, because he just saw the entire team on the other side, so why not cheat heavily?
Yeah, you got your ward on that side as well as Kez to keep him safe. And Kez is going to have to keep in mind on that mid lane as well. If they keep going it probably this hard, really knowing the shot caller's back, we need to shut him down right away.
Yeah. I mean, Prawley is a fearless leader when he goes in on Annie. He's not afraid to just be a Tibra's bomb. Just jump in and go for it.
Smart play by Prawley there. Every time Void Boys flow up, just getting a quick auto attack in so he can apply the damage over the shield. Stun's actually not doing too much you would usually see coming from Annie. Probably
double Thorns on Void Boy as well because of that first blood early on in the game. You can see the littering of wards from Complexity on the right side of the map in the mid lane. Probably needs to cheat that side, but even with him cheating that side, if he can't out-trade Yasuo, it's all for nothing.
It looks like with the early Dragon Gold and whoever got it with this mid, or rather jungle and the support, 2 very early Sight Stones coming in for Complexity. Those wards are going to be helping.
Wow, Sightstone before even a longsword or a Doran's Blade from Kez.
Ooh. Flash in the bottom lane, so most of these wards aren't really being placed for Robert X. Lee. You can see that for sure.
Yeah, Dominate, I do really like the Pantheon pick to try and take advantage of this really obscure early games we've been having where a lot of the times the top laner is farming the jungle just as much as the jungler himself.
Right.
Fast clearing isn't necessarily a priority because you're waiting more on the cooldown of your camps if you're clearing them with 2 people. So I will Dominate is using a lot of this time to actually roam around and try and create action.
Nice little connect on the Sonic Wave. But Kez really hasn't been able to make himself apparent in this game. No Lee Sin plays, getting pushed out of top here as Quas teleports in with Cop. And they're still kind of mixing this up. It's usually Expecial up here, but now it's Quas Cop.
Yeah. Expecial hasn't been anywhere this game. He's level 2 right now. It's actually been, we talk about the 2v0 lanes. It's been a 1v0 lane for most of this where Cop is trying to get the majority of the experience. Corki does have very strong base damages on his Phosphorus Bomb, so getting him the experience is valuable, but you have to question the cost and how much this is going to hurt Expecial with only being level 2.
That's Robert keeping himself safe in the bottom lane, even though he's getting hit up with a few ganks. Still watch Prawley versus Void Boy here. Flow shield down once again, getting those auto attacks in with Annie's long range. Just waiting for the stun. Get a little clear on the wave and a little damage with it as well. But Void Boy is just playing so positionally well. Can't do much. Probably still on the back foot. And there's Dominate ready for the engage.
Yeah, he is trying to be in everyone's back pocket right now as far as lanes are concerned. But not necessarily making too much happen. The Sight Stoning of Kez has sniffed those out pretty well since he's trying to concentrate so heavily on the mid lane, and the mid lane is warded on both ends.
Right. Still interesting. Kez keeps his trinket instead of a sweeper there. Or his ward trinket, I should say.
Yeah.
Special moving in and gets seen by the ward. I don't think he actually saw the image of it being placed, though. So they're just going to go ahead and pressure the top turret, dominate back towards the blue with some pings. As Westrice is going to give him a little bit of trouble. Somebody's always behind Voyboy here. A missed Tibbers drop as well. Looks like they're going to get some good pressure on the mid lane here. And probably is definitely kind of overthinking his actions.
Westrice, though, getting a little happy about this one. Forces the flash. Take it.
Ready, take it. Do it.
It would have been the worst take.
Special again, level 3. Here he comes into the mid lane. He's definitely creating pressure with his movements, but how fast is he going to go down in the fight? They can't expect him to be living for very long. This is an odd start to a game going on here.
Completely honestly, though, Complexity's doing pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Considering Prawley got first blooded so early, they countered very quickly by taking the early dragon. They started warding the mid lane very aggressively, and they've basically taken I Will Dominate out of the game after that first gank. And Prawley has stayed competitive with Voyboy despite being first blooded. All these things are very positive for Complexity. They're staying in it.
Quickly gets himself 2 rings, and then the boots by. Really working that anti-damage on the early levels with some penetration. You see he's only 300 gold ahead on Voyboy's side in that instance. 17 to 12 for our top laners, but they have been actually all over the map as well. Everybody's kind of matching up against whoever's in the lane at the current time.
These are very weak farm numbers from the top lane. We talked about the average CS at 10 on the top lane being 50 in the LCS, which was 15 lower than it was in the spring split. This game, these guys are going to be about 25 because they've just done so much roaming, and Curse is almost prioritizing Cops farm to an absurd level on his Corki.
Right.
Even though he's only at 71, just with the way they've been moving around the map, it's a tremendous amount. And Quas just trying to get scraps at the turret, but it's not easy.
Looks like he might lose a little bit more of his turret here. Final shot won't go down. Oh, he can't take it. There he goes. Finally comes out of the polymorph. He's all right. Boy. Getting hit up. Dashes through his own wall. Back to safety. Wait, that's not a turret. He's going to be running out this one long. But mid, Cop is taking a turret. Good teleport in from Westrice as well while all of this is going on. Looks like COL does get their turret dropped. Or drop a turret in the top lane, I should say. But it's not over. Man drop coming in from Dominate. He hits Bubba Dub right on the head. They finalize the kill onto Westrice. One last. Oh, the flash and E coming in from Quaz.
Craziness early on in this game.
Oh,
and Chris
no.
continues on
It brings him over the wall with the relentless pursuit on the Zenith Blade. The stun comes in from Daybreak, and it looks like they're going to be able to finalize this. A glitter lance, a shield knock. He smites it down.
4 kills at the end of this is what Curse sits on in the game. They get 3 from that exchange. Owl Dominate's first gank at level 6 is a tremendous success, and they used it around their points of power at that point. Cop was in the mid lane, their most farmed person, taken on 2, and Dominate just disrupted the whole show. Gets him the kill. Now they can go for Dragon with all the deaths they created.
Good draw out here. Let's see what Kez can do for the team here in Dragon engagement. The pressure is enough to put Curse off. This is good by Curse. Usually they get themselves into a tight spot after getting a little bit. And here they're really calculating what they can and can't do.
Yeah, the respawn of the Dragon couldn't easily be taken by Complexity because, I mean, you can only take so many 3-minute, 30-second Dragons before you know when it respawns on the other side. Complexity pushing mid strongly because Curse had to go back to base after expending other cooldowns for those kills.
Sight ward still proving quite useful here for Complexity. Looks like they may even, in a few chances, or a few seconds I should say, be able to put those pink wards a little bit farther forward. They are definitely gaining control of the map so far. Curse is on the back foot as they send all 5 to the mid lane.
This Dragon fight could be real interesting. Complexity wants to wait for Prawley's Tibbers before fighting. They think they can actually sneak it before
Dragon
Curse
turret.
makes it back. And they absolutely can. This is a great call.
They're swiftly getting that. Curse disperses because they have no minion waves to get to that turret.
Yeah.
A little bit of a misplay.
And Curse also has really bad vision control.
Yep.
As we could see by that right there. Curse and Complexity are actually the 2 fewest wards purchased of the LCS teams. Definitely need to work on who buys wards when, because that Dragon got given away basically because of vision control.
3 sweepers already out with the quick sight stones from Complexity are definitely giving them an advantage here. Not much gold in advantage, but the map control is going to lead to that eventually. 2-1 in turret so far. They need to open up the mid turret on the map, deny a little bit more vision to Curse, and just be able to get to those buffs that much easier.
Yeah, this is a really close game. And something that's so fascinating about the LCS is that it's actually a pretty long season. Like we talked about, this is the last game of basically the first round robin that everyone plays, because everyone plays each other 4 times in the season. It's 4 big round robins. And the question as far as improving and staying in the LCS, especially for these teams near the bottom, is how do they adapt game to game? And what adjustments do they make? We mentioned how the warding game has been something Complexity and Curse have both been struggling with. Complexity is definitely trying to remedy that this game. They built 2 very early sight stones, a bunch of pinks on the map already. You can see 2 in the river, and 2 still in inventories. They are playing the vision game this time, and Curse is the ones getting warded out. Even the points where Dominate wants to stand 2 Pantheon off are being warded. So Complexity is very safe.
Here's Voyboy going hard onto Robert X. Lee. Relentless pursuit to instantly disengage. Was not going to dash in for that one. Looks like Robert's going to go ahead back by his Bloodthirster, already being charged up by Cop as they stick in the mid lane. And Curse, they've been on to 3 sweepers before even getting a first sight stone because they need to stop the amount of wards coming onto them. Usually you see that on the team that's ahead.
Yeah, their sweep city is definitely trying to happen for Curse. But there's too many wards. I mean, as soon as one team goes double sight stone, you're basically losing the vision game. We've seen a few games when we had like a Nunu versus Lee Sin jungler, we get the double sight stone on both sides. There's no way Curse is doing double sight stone this game. Pantheon is not the jungler who has the capability of doing that. It basically puts more emphasis on Dominate to purchase wards himself so he can kind of keep up. And to the rest of Curse.
Adorable.
Cute little bear.
Don't believe her.
Why is he still waiting there?
I don't know. Just hanging. For the crowd. That's his personality. He will do that all game. 81 to 83, still just hanging out. Keeps himself correct on the CS in the lane, and he's tied up with Voyboy kills and deaths. So we'll see what Complexity can keep doing for themselves here. You can kill Prolly. That doesn't stop his mouth from moving and calling the shots, apparently.
Yeah, I feel like he's going either DFG or Death Cap first, going for as much upfront burst as possible on that Annie. These team fights are going to be really interesting. It's going to be so much about how many Prolly can catch with the stun, because Westrice, especially when they're around level 11, level 16 across these soul lanes, are going to be their big spikes in power. They're 2 very heavily base damage reliant soul laners there. Nice ward kill by Robert, using the double shot.
Quickly getting it out. Keep that in mind. Not just tunneling for the kills here. Robert's definitely a carry that thinks of all the situations surrounding what's happening to him. Gold is just about even. 4 kills on the side of Curse, the turret on the side of Complexity here, as this game is neck and neck right now. Curse back.
Curse got to be worried, because they had an opportunity coming into this game to tie TSM and tie themselves for 5th, whereas if they lose this one, that would actually tie them for last place in the LCS with EG's win today. And that's not where Curse wants to be at all. With the big offseason acquisition of X Special, a lot of pressure is on this whole team, actually, to perform better than they did last split. Last split, they seemed to be coming together actually quite well near the end of the season. They played some decently close games against Cloud9 in the semifinals of the playoffs, and had pretty close games against CLG as well. Ended up 4th place, as Curse usually does. They do not want to be tied for last after the first little run of the schedule.
A lot of those games really, like you said, came from the entire team. Quas having a bigger impact. Others doing what they need to do. And in this one, he's 1-0-2, but he's down 30 CS right now in Westrice in the top lane. So the utility of Wild Growth can hopefully be what really brings him forward on these fights, because he will not be bringing the AP power.
Yeah. And looking at this game more individually, Quas is finally getting some free time to farm.
Yeah.
It's going to be very important that he hits some item thresholds before the next big team fight. And Cop is actually kind of losing his advantage over Robert X. Lee. He had about a 30 CS advantage a little bit ago, but Complexity is starting to reprioritize farm in that area. Right now, the game becomes all about who can get war control over the blue buff and the dragon area, and right now, it is far and away Complexity. They could use that vision advantage to land a good Tibbers and stop Curse from coming in here. Right now, Complexity is winning.
Easily on the side of Curse without feeling danger. Right now, 49 seconds on the Dragon, so these wards that Kaz is going to be putting up, as well as denying experience, will allow them breadcrumb safety trail all the way down to Dragon, which they have a ward to be clearing on that before they start it.
Yeah, they have so many wards that even if Curse swept properly, they couldn't clear vision.
No, right. Not a fun situation, see, and actually the Morello Namicon, a first buy coming out for Quas here.
He's done that before.
Yep.
Yeah, since he's not spamming as much in the mid lane, it's the quickest way of him having max effectiveness in team fights. 20% cooldown reduction. Very, very handy here.
Slow moving on the support side. Special mobility boots, same thing as Bubba Dub, both really putting money into being able to engage and get to the front line. And you see Bubba Dub, actually the first two people there.
They're trying to sweep, but there's too many breadcrumbs on the ground. They can't sweep them all, as you were saying. And Curse is very desperate about trying to make it in here. Both top laners could teleport in. It's all about the first catch, whether it's from X Special or from Bubba Dub. But the vision control is absolutely inside of Complexity.
That's tough. Curse knows about the pink ward surrounding the area now. The sweep is good for them as well. Force place down. Grabbed onto Yasuo, so not too much damage with Flow Shield up. But these are both teams really looking for the first mistake.
Yeah, all sweepers are on cooldown now, so no more wards can be swept. And Complexity has complete vision. You can see Curse backing away right now, meaning Complexity has won that vision war, and Curse isn't chancing it.
The ward war has been won, but the battle goes on. Great job by Complexity. Early Sightstone's really paying off with the sweepers controlled in the right spots. Probably is going to be getting this. It's great for himself. 18 minutes in, mid turret's quite low too. Complexity has things to work with.
Yeah, because honestly, that deserves a clap. That was basically a team fight win. There by Complexity. They over-warded. They stopped Curse from having vision, and the only reason Curse didn't go in there is if they would have tried, they would have lost people. They would have died, which means the Dragon had to be forfeit. And since they backed away while the Dragon was happening, they're even losing their own blue buff.
Denying experience in the mid lane. A full wave going to crash into that turret as Robert and the team, as you say, have control of the jungle.
Oh, no.
That happened.
That sucks. Kez taking the blue buff. Luckily, there's still a blue buff left on the map. As long as Complexity can make it over there as quickly as possible. They actually put up some exclamation mark smart pings there because they feel like Curse would shoot over to that blue buff. But Curse is just behind the
Maybe
game.
they saw this happen. Hopefully they didn't.
We need this now, please.
We'll see if they can recuperate. Looks like Prolly's headed over there right now. They may actually not be in the right position to save mid-turret, and could hurt a little bit, but it seems like they'll get Robert X Lee there in time. No damage to be had there.
So Westrise took the other blue?
Lol?
That's weird. No blue on Prolly, with him having his DFG. So instead they have the blue buff on both of the Manalus characters.
Probably the fearless leader.
Guess so. Maybe they were afraid it was going to get stolen, so Westrise secured it. Really curious choices there. But
that's a
blue buff
real
Complexity pushes up mid.
Big anticipation of your mid losing his blue buff. Calling coming in. A few shots onto Quas.
Guys.
Here we go. 20 minutes on into the game. We'll see if they can still get their initiations. He doesn't need blue to flash and Tibbers. We'll see if they could do it.
Westrise only gets the cooldown reduction off of that. Like with an energy user, you actually get increased energy regeneration, so Lee Sin can kind of benefit from it. But just the 10% CDR for Westrise. And the experience.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Good thing. 2K gold lead for Complexity here. They have finally started to pepper down a few more turrets as they walk over a ward.
Here comes the initiation.
Pantheon dropping down on his own team. Actually, he's going to be on a Void Boy. The fight is in the top side of the river, though. A teleport in as well coming in from Westrise on the side, but he doesn't know if he wants to go in either. Kind of do-si-doing back and forth, and Curse is able to walk this one out to safety.
Yeah, so Dominate's ultimate lands like a pillow. Just doesn't hurt very much.
Nope.
Everything else backs away, and now Complexity regains control of the map here because the side lanes are all pushing. Complexity has the map control, and they keep moving their wall of wards closer and closer into Curse territory.
Oh,
that's big.
That's a nice grab right there. Oh, Tibbers comes out, and they're probably disintegrating Dominate off the map, and it looks like maybe incinerating a few more if they can get into range here. Clear out the wave. Dominus has been used, so they got to kind of recalculate and assess what they can go for here.
They blew him up. With the DFG. All it took was one catch, and since Curse was not in position for an initiation, no Pantheon ult up, there wasn't much follow. You could see once Complexity burned their spells, they really didn't have much left, but they got in the kill, and they got out of there.
The Void Boy knows that they were going to be in a fight. See him piecing together a little bit of crit into his build after the Cutlass, because finishing that really wouldn't have made a giant impact.
He needs to static shiv as quickly as possible before he can really start fighting with an impact.
A little push here as they just wait for the wave. It's a siege wave, should be good and easy for them to take the turret, but no. Great clear coming in, Phosphorus and a Glitter Lance. Forgot about Quas on Lulu. They're able to keep the turret a little bit longer and actually push Call off.
And Complexity has said multiple times when they were entering the LCS that they were going to take some lumps early on, but that they were going to try and learn as quickly as possible from their mistakes, and you would see improvement throughout the season.
Right.
I think this is kind of their first big step of improvement right here.
Yeah.
The number of wards they are placing, the way they are systematically going around this game and gaining objectives instead of just blindly going in and trying to make plays. In the first 6 games we've seen them play so far in the LCS, there's been a lot of just Westrice going crazy and diving, Broken Shard trying blind Dragon Steel, saying, we're going to make a play and win the game.
Yeah.
This is about Complexity just playing the game properly instead of taking a bunch of non-calculated risks.
Right. Haven't seen Kaz really offer too much to the team, but that's what's playing with this right now and making them do so well. He's been in the right spots at the right time to add the correct amount of pressure. 130 on the Dragon as, again, the Ward War begins. This time, last time won by Complexity. We'll see if Curse can position themselves here. Dominate's man drop is up, so the Grand Skyfall will be present. And Westrice will not be able to teleport down, so he will be apparent in the fight in just a few minutes. Seeing what Curse can do with the rest of this. See if Voyboy can be the one to really put the team on his shoulders, as they've been looking for him to do in his late good gameplay.
And I do feel like even though neither of these teams scale exceptionally in the late game, Curse would hold the slight edge just between the Annie and the Renekton, plus Lee Sin not being too crazy. But then again, if Lucian ever were to get to 6 items, he would probably outscale the rest of Curse on his own right there. So there's still a few factors at play here. Mid-game, like late mid-game, I'd have to say goes to Curse, and then by the time it gets to hyper late game, I think it evens out again, power-wise.
See if he can get there. 0-1 and 1. CS is actually quite even here coming in between the AD carries as Curse pushes down onto the mid lane, finally applying pressure back to Complexity. That's not in the side
fight
lane.
from Curse!
Dominate going in on the man drop to the backside. That is going to be a huge explosion and an obliteration fight coming in for Curse. Robert X. Lee tries to get to the back line, but wait, Complexity turning this one around. Robert X. Lee getting in at the right time, making the right shots, and they're going to be forcing this one back. Only 2 members went down instantly for Complexity.
Yeah, and then it turned into a 2-for-2.
Yeah.
So actually a decent trade, even though it seemed like Curse started that one about as cleanly as they could. It was because they were on top of a turret, and dives like that are really dangerous. I like the initiative from Curse, though. They need to do more of that. Just get a little bit lucky.
Let's see what happened one more time on this.
Yeah, well, you can see the Lulu ult right into Voyboy, but that was also on top of a Tibbers. The Tibbers is gone now because as soon as Prawley dies, the Tibbers disappears, but the damage still went out. And then Westrice was sitting in there with his Dominus. Lucian does an incredible amount of sustained damage, and the fight gets turned pretty cleanly.
Complexity's control in the fight is the upper hand here. We actually see Kez and Westrice trying to take Dragon. Voyboy coming in at the right time. It's going to be the smite out for Kez. He has nothing to jump to, cannot get over the wall, so that's a quick kill coming in. No big shutdowns, but Voyboy getting gold he needs. Now the static shiv is finished.
Curse needs to use this time to get some vision control back. You can see 4 sweepers now. They know the double sightstone is an issue, and they're doing as much as possible to try and remove this. Now that they have Kez down, they have to push.
Voyboy and team trying to get back a little bit. During that entire replay, you can see the second tier turret in bottom lane actually went down as well for Curse, so they lost a little bit on that. Complexity came out pretty big last fight, and it looks like they're trying to do it again. Xpecial, the only one to the back line, but now Voyboy can follow.
Going big.
Great damage to come in. Voyboy with no safety. Xpecial tries to flash out, goes down to the backside, but Dominate takes down Prowley before it all happens. Quas is still on the turret to make sure Curse can get out alive.
When we consider this as a big picture, it's actually 2 turrets down for Curse, but another fight that actually goes 2-for-2. They're so close to Curse, just wiping out the whole team, but they can't really get their mitts onto Robert, it feels like, and he's doing a lot of damage from the back line.
Even with Flash and Heal being down now from that fight, he's been able to keep himself safe, and the entire team has been trying to heal for him. One more look at that.
This time they try and burst everything onto Voyboy, but the Lulu ultimate gives him a lot of confidence, and then the fact that Turret Egger actually went on an Xpecial was ideal here. It allowed the squishy Voyboy to be in there as long as possible. Unfortunately, the turret did kill Xpecial because no one was focusing the turret because the team fight was a bigger priority. But it was still a nice move by Xpecial getting the turret aggro.
Good stuff coming in from both teams as they really put each other on the plank here, making each other walk it every so often. But nobody coming up with a full ace. Nobody's really able to take the fight. All the fights are happening in the middle of the map, and then nothing's really gained off it. Curse is trying to creep their way back in gold. Yeah, they grabbed the turret, but they're really just evening up the map and the amount of pressure that Complexity can throw back at them if they do ever get off this side.
Yeah, I see Prawley actually at level 12 right now in the mid lane. And even though his Tibbers is a pretty big initiation factor in team fights, he needs some levels. He needs a little bit more just base health to deal with his Molten Shield, because even if he's getting the Tibbers off right, he's basically dying immediately after. And it would be nice if he could get maybe an extra rotation of spells off, because he is a target right now.
Dominate going for the all-out engages, gets flayed up immediately and taken down. Tibbers gonna get a little dance in for himself.
That was weird. Dominate went in way ahead of his team, and they tried to initiate without Voyboy there. Well, Voyboy has been the main protagonist in all of their team fights. He's done very, very well here. Right into 4 people, ill-advised.
We'll see if that mistake can be stopped from next time. I'm sure CRS won't put themselves into that situation too much. 7-9, that kill just coming up in favor of Complexity because of an error. But we'll see the 4,000 gold lead right now really is what Complexity's playing with and making it work against CRS. We said that Deathfire Grasp was big. You can't be caught out alone against Prolly and the rest of the team. Complexity now knows they can shove mid lane. They're going to keep doing that and try to play on the minds of CRS here.
Yeah, you can see the 80 carries are very close in atomization. Voyboy feeling pretty frisky right now. He wants to go in.
Actually, just threw a BF sword in there for a little bit of damage. Wants more crit. Can't blame him. These fights need to have a very big impact. Everybody's building for just all-out damage. Quas is trying to get that Rabadon's in his hands next. 2,000 gold under Westrice right now. Quite a difference.
Yeah, that is a pretty big Renekton. Right now, Quas has just been the victim, it seems like, of the way Cursed likes to distribute farm. This split. So much of the farm has went on to Cop. And they really are just leaving Quas on his own. But even with all of that, he's got a Death Cap and a Morellonomicon, and honestly, the teamfight impact of a Lulu like that versus a Renekton, Lulu can be just as adequate with those items. So Cop building as smart as he can to have maximum teamfight effectiveness.
And it looks like it's that time, chat. Baron coverage to be laid down, and both teams trying to weigh their decision on whether they have a chance to pressure it or not, or be the ones to come up second and figure out the other team has been doing it already. Gonna get this one out, probably over to Robert X. Lee. Get some more damage from him in these fights.
That's huge, especially with his last Whisper being completed.
Yep.
The blue buff on Illusion for the extra cooldown reduction, since he is such a spell-reliant 80 carry already, is gonna play big things if this dragon ends up being contested.
Still looking at mid lane now. Voidboy and Prolly, even though he was focused early game, only 30 CS behind, but still having an impact here. Absolutely making it work for his team. And you can see the shot calling has come into play as well. They feel it's good to have him back, and it's good to see Complexity doing well. They've strived for greatness pretty much all the time, and a lot of times they'll come up just short because of something that really wasn't in the cards you thought.
Yeah, a lot of times they just go for the big play. Doesn't work. This game they're playing very calculated, and it's Curse who's going for the big play again and again with Dominate's very aggressive Pantheon ultimates. It's kind of worked for them, but honestly just kind of dug them a slightly bigger hole again and again.
There it is again. Complexity sweeping in the right positions.
And then look at the dragon. No vision at all, which means Curse immediately has to try and get vision control over the Baron area, but they weren't fast enough. Complexity still has vision to make sure they're not doing Baron.
Wow.
And they're safe where they are right now.
Curse even has 4 sweepers out as well to make sure they have everything covered. Man drop coming in. Just for kind of Dominate to get to the
Talisman is a really good buy against a Pantheon because you get the indicator a few seconds in advance. You use the Talisman on Thresh, you clear everyone else from Pantheon's range. And Westrice getting a lot of turret damage down. Complexity's going to try and poke Curse off this Baron. This is a desperation move by Curse. They need to fight now.
This is going to be very big. Special decides to go right onto Bubbadup, who can throw down the disengage. They're going to have to walk through the entire wall.
Big
Tibbers from Prolly. Kez is in the fight, gives a huge kick. What damage from Robert X. Lee in this fight? Oh my gosh, Cobb is the only one alive. Triple kill for Robert X. Lee, and they're going to push down the mid lane.
4 for 1. Prolly becomes a martyr for his team. He just ults and hits everyone. Complexity is so happy about that one. They destroyed Curse in that team fight.
So amazing. It seems like Curse almost forced themselves into that. A lot was used on Bubbadup, who was continuously disengaging himself and then forced the entire team to walk through a box.
Yeah.
Great play by the team. Kez finally making an impact, getting right into the middle of the fight to help. And it looks like Curse is going to be forced to watch Baron go to Complexity at 32 minutes in.
Yeah. We've never seen Complexity play this smart. When they won over Cloud9, it was a very chaotic, out-of-control game. This was a very controlled fight by Complexity. They knew they had the split pusher. They knew they were playing disengage until the teleport could come in. They got an initiation on Bubbadup and then Prolly went in at exactly the right moment. As soon as he does, look how everyone on Complexity followed as soon as Westrice comes in. They collapsed in and around Curse. basically trapping them in the metaphorical box that was their team, and just destroyed them in that fight before getting Baron.
And they're going to be able to take so much more after that. Playing Janitor on the map, and they clean it up. Dragon goes to them 4-3 in turrets. They weren't able to push too much of the map there, but that fight is really going to put Curse in a hard-hat position coming into this next engage.
Especially considering when they're running the Yasuo Pantheon, they have to initiate hard with Leona.
Yep.
That is the only direction with which that composition works. And now they're down 9,000 gold in a Baron.
Not going to be easy for this comeback. Also, not a lot of things for Voyboy to get a good ultimate off of. You're looking at that wild growth. You're looking at Voyboy's own Q on that third one, but it's going to be very tough. They got to get the perfect fights to come in here. Now with Complexity, like you said, Robert X. Lee, if he can get to that position, we just saw him put out some huge damage in that fight. He's going to be doing it even more. Well, he goes with Affinity Edge, too. He's not even worried about this. He can heal for himself.
Well, when Robert X. Lee gets fed, Complexity wins.
Yeah, this is
it
true.
It happened against Cloud9 with the
good point.
4-minute triple kill. Here it was a 2-minute triple kill.
Right.
But he's still pretty fed. Those things
as long
are true.
as you get it. And it leaves the rest of the team able to mitigate whatever they need. Single Negatron close coming in. Almost a Guardian Angel finished up actually for Westrice. And maybe another 1,300. He's probably got gold in his pocket already. But everybody's getting what they need right now for Complexity. And they're using it too.
And honestly, we haven't been able to touch on it much, but Kez, the Sightstone vision control that he's been adding for his team has been remarkable. To come in on such short notice from a different team, really being a challenger adversary of Complexity for all of last Series 1 and 2. And he's doing great.
Didn't seem to have too much of a champion damage impact, but it's not the only way you can impact a game. Like you said, really playing for the around the map control. And with the shot calling back of Prolly, it's been working wonders so far. A 10,000 gold lead, 34 minutes on Curse.
Seems like such a strange day.
Yeah.
We had the start of it with Complexity and EG being the 7th and 8th place teams in the LCS. EG takes down Cloud9. Complexity looks to be taking down Curse. Even though Curse could have won this game to be tied with TSM, we have a 3-way tie at the top of the standings. Anything can happen today in the North American LCS.
All the one-game-away instances. Voyboy with a good block on the Ardent Blaze. Not too much damage coming from the double shot passive of Lucian, but Robert actually still gets it there in time. Blue buff and red buff are keeping him quite safe. The team can focus on other things. C takes down the turret. Great focus here for Complexity. Doesn't look like they're stopping.
Yeah, they're going to dare Curse to fight them. They're just going to keep standing at this point, wait for the minion wave to come in. Robert is going to take quick little double shots at the turret, go in and out, and wait for X Special or I Will Dominate to commit to a fight.
Let's see if X Special can grab somebody on this here. A nice hook onto Corki. Not a ride Bubba Dub wants to take just yet. Oh, Robert, get that turret damage. You don't want to face tank that. Everybody's safe. Voyboy actually can't ult for himself now. He's got to get that recharge back up. So Curse, or Complexity rather, feeling pretty safe here, especially with Dominate in eyes. He's going to have to walk up to get that stun now.
Yeah, Robert taking a few little pokes on that one, but he's going to try and lifesteal up off the next minion wave when it meets. This does seem to be on a bit of a timer, though. Huge wave in the bottom lane, stacking up for Curse currently. But if Complexity goes soon, they're still going to be all right.
Westrice does have that Guardian Angel.
Wind Wall burned really early, before Robert was going to be going for the turret anyway. Allows for a lot of damage.
Very nice, relentless pursuit. Looks like they stay safe. You can hear them in the background. They're yelling at each other like this, that, this, that. There's communication everywhere. We're here in the all chat. This gets very chaotic between the teams, but the right calls instantly puts the fight in your favor. What a bro. Westrice tanking up the turret for Robert
burns
shots.
the wind wall before the next minion wave is going to arrive, which means they have the full time of this next minion wave. This turret might be going down, or Curse has to initiate. They hook X Special. That's not exactly you want to hook.
Nope.
And it holds it for another wave.
And that's the difference you see. X Special got Bubba Dub last time and it caused bad things, but the choice to not go in, all in, is really keeping Complexity on the upper
Baron on
hand.
Complexity either. There's the initiation.
Oh, he ults himself. Westrice jumped right into it and said, let's go. Dominate almost gets out of that one, but he's pulled back in by Bubba Dub. Westrice almost going down, but somehow stays alive with the shields, and Complexity micros themselves in and out perfectly to take down 2.
For 0. Robert just slips out of that one.
Don't know
Lucian
how.
is rather slippery, as is...
Everything's going so well for them. Now to still have Guardian Angel up for the next time, great play.
Yeah, Guardian Angel, Renekton. You already don't want to have to focus on Renekton. Unless he got the GA. Robert picks up the red buff on the way out. That was just control, once again, from Complexity. They Did actually give Curse a slight window for maybe catching them because they stayed at slightly low health while the Baron buff had expired, and it was the right play by Curse to try and initiate at that point. You can see Robert
Take one more look.
doesn't get Leona ulted, though. He was well out of there by the time the Leona ultimate went out. And then Westrice ends up taking the brunt of the damage, doesn't even pop the GA, and probably manages to Zonya's before he gets finished off as well.
I'll watch that again. I think Dominate got kick grabbed. It looked really sweet.
Got all bounced around.
We're playing ping pong with the Pantheon. 38 minutes on to this one. 62. That's going up to 63,000, and that's, we'll say, 50,000. So that gold lead for Complexity is just surmounting and almost unstoppable for Curse to come back now. If there was any domino effect, Complexity is working it right now. Pings to the top lane. They tell Robert actually to be very careful as he's farming this.
And we did talk about the late game damage fall off potential from Complexity because Westrice, Renekton, and Prawley's Annie aren't the most giant late game monsters. But a Lucian that has 5 offensive items kinda is. So as long as Robert X. Lee can stay safe in these fights, which could be a legitimate risk, Complexity will be fine to take out this one. Really the only way Curse wins is if Voyboy lands a Miracle Yasuo ult right on top of Robert X. Lee and bursts him down immediately.
Crit on crit on crit.
Yeah, and even when they do that, they're going to be exposing their backline to Prawley. So it's very difficult.
See Cop. He's going for a Cutlass to Blade of the Rune King in there. No Infinity Edge pop for him on those auto attacks. So it looks like Voyboy's left to that damage. Like we said, it's got to hit, and it's got to hit soon because Baron now alive and willing for a fight here. Complexity can easily pressure this one down, but it looks like they may just be able to catch Curse on the way there.
Yeah, and this is the
Long way
same
around.
situation we had last time.
Yep.
Westrice is split pushing. Quas is not matching because he's staying with the team, which means Curse would have to team fight without, or just go back to base. They're just going to go back to base. There's not much more they can do.
Getting something out of this would be great, but now they are pressured. All 5 back for Quas. And he's just going to go ahead and be an alligator.
Well, they're going to kill him, at least. It's going to cost them the Baron.
This reminds me of old Hot Shot. Just one guy running around. The entire team gets Baron. He's still going. Baron goes down.
Burn his GA.
Yeah.
Who's going to get the kill? They got to give this to us, the right person. That'll work.
That's a pretty good fight.
He was really hard to take down.
He still has teleport, too. He's going to be right back in. Well, it's 55 seconds.
It's a
You're late in the
55-second
game,
delay.
but you're right there.
Yeah. His Renekton ultimate also is on 83-second delay, so they...
You almost get it.
Yeah, they're going to wait for that to come back up. It basically means the duration of this Baron buff by Complexity is reduced by about 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But they're still going to be doing the same game they played previously, just at a different turret. They did the mid turret with their last Baron. They're probably going for the bottom of the top turret with this new one.
Infinity Edge finished out, and another damage item coming in for Robert X. Lee on the Cutlass. He just wants damage. He knows that
He
the
got his
rest
Blade
of
of
the
the Rune
team.
King pretty soon as well.
Yep.
He might actually end up doing that before the big push.
Valkyrie Flash, Cop using everything to get out of that one. Randuin's trying to be built up by X-Special. They're giving everybody a chance to keep these fights going, keep Cop in range to do damage along with Voyboy. See what Quas can do to get a Glitter Lance out. Robert actually just pretty fearless here. Ardent Blaze doesn't even need it, just takes down the turret with regular shots.
Yeah,
Zanya's for
back
Prawley. Yeah. Westrice back up too.
Yeah, they're going to go make their final trip to the shop as Westrice comes out. You can see 17, 1400,
Wow.
2200, 1400. Everyone just buying up their items. It's a blue. Actually, he sells
What did
his
he
Cutlass
sell?
for a Guardian Angel.
Yeah, I saw money come in there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he actually decreases his damage a little bit for a bit more security.
Good choice. With Westrice's down, it makes it a little more target focused for him.
We did say as well that the one way Curse could come back in this one is if they could somehow catch Robert X. Lee and kill him. Now that might not be the case.
A little bit harder. Quas actually focusing on building up a Lich Bane here to come in second. Hasn't really been able to put enough money even to a second set of boots throughout this game. It's been tough. 320 to 180 in that lane. And looks like Westrice is going to be going back into his favorite environment of split pushing in the bot. And Complexity is already at the front of the base, so it's just kind of a waiting game now until Westrice gets to the turrets.
Yeah, the Baron is kind of going to waste if we consider it. It's already more than
2.5
half
minutes
done.
left.
Yeah. So Complexity would have to pick up the pace a little bit. But
Or
the
left
gold lead
them,
has
yeah.
been expanding pretty heavily throughout this. Like, while the time has been delayed, it's not like they aren't continually taking all of the lanes and all of the jungle. Curse isn't really hitting their max items, so we're not at that point yet where the gold doesn't matter. Complexity's
Yeah.
still really increasing their strength.
Good shields from the outside, keeping Robert very safe. Misses the Ardent Blaze on that one, but he's still getting the passive shots with Sheen proc on the inhibitor as he needs it. Complexity knows they're up in gold, and this is not usually you see a team play this strong, but today we've seen all teams start to take control when they think they have it. Dominate looking to put control back in his team's favor. A great
Leon ult.
throws everybody in the box. Quaz is the only one in here. Wild growth on 4 members now. Probably Zanya's in, and he's going to be able to cast spells when he comes out along with his flash. Complexity is just shutting down Curse all over the map. Boy runs bleeding out of this one with about 60 HP left, and it's going to be Complexity in the base and on the Nexus turret.
Yeah, Westrice is so huge right now. They do not need minions to try and push this one down. Still 3 people on Curse up. They're just going for this.
What a hell of a day of games here from every team. All the victors really putting their best foot forward today. Boy, oh my gosh, going down even faster than last time. Gets hit up with the last shot from Robert X. Lee and the rest of the team. It's going to be a special going down as well. The last Nexus turret falls 43-20 into the matchup. Complexity takes down Curse with Pez in the jungle.
And what happened in the NA LCS today? Surprises across the board. EG beats Cloud9. Complexity takes down Curse. There's now a 3-way tie for first and a 3-way tie for last in the NA LCS. There is absolute parity starting to come out. What a big win for Complexity with their substitute Keds.
Getting everybody in on the cheer, on the hug, and really methodical play from Complexity. Every team kind of stayed out of tunnel mode today, if you will. They made all the right calls, didn't go too far, and backed off when they needed to every time. The victors, that is. It was a tough day if you were on the losing side because it came fast.
I mean, this loss for Curse really hurts.
Yep.
They had taken down Dignitas, feeling pretty good about things. They thought with the win here, they could move into a tie for 5th place, but instead, goes the other way. Up-and-down.
Probably a little late there. Probably to Zanya's on back at base. Goes over to shake the hands of Curse now. Gives his team a handshake as well. Gotta feel good to have the Prolly back. The fearless leader. Crazy plays as well. Didn't even let it affect him that he was taken down like a minute into the game.
Yeah, as soon as that happened, you could see the Sightstone rush by Kez saying, yeah, they need the vision control. Almost right away, they warded up one side really deep to make it so Dominic could never sneak up on Prolly again.
Yeah.
And then at the start of those initiations, he just fired in again and again.
It's like we're going to get a quick interview with him in just a little bit, but great play coming out around. Robert X. Lee showing huge play from the AD carry position. Once again, like you said, it wasn't the early triple kill, but he got his triple kill in the mid game that brought him right back to Robert X. Lee form.
Something about triple kills seems to grant victory for teams. I don't know what it is.
Triple kills and double busts every time he gets it. All right, so we are going to send it down right now to Kobe, who's on the winner's side.
All right, thank you. We are here with Prolly. Came back and won his first game. Easy, fresh, right? Okay, so congratulations, Prolly, on your win. Now, on your time away, how did you keep up with the team so that you would have a seamless reintegration once you came back? Were you still talking to them, practicing with them, talking about strategies?
Yeah, we actually, before I even left and they were scrimming with ManCloud, I was kind of subbed in as the coach, and I watched all the scrims and gave notes and stuff. And then when they played, I went back and watched all the replays, and then later we listened to the voice comm. So I pretty much was there in a way, just being a coach and not a player for the last week. So that's kind of been my role because I didn't want to, I didn't want to have like a fissure in the team. So I just had to like be as involved as I could, but not play.
And now bringing in Kez for this game, you guys have yet another person subbing out. How easy was it to bring in Kez, and how was it working with Kez?
Kez is actually like a super awesome jungler, and it's weird how well he just like fits with the team because we all have like our own shot calling kind of thing, but he came in and he started doing shot calling, and we were like, oh yeah, your shots are actually correct. Like, okay, we'll listen to you. So everyone's like actually taking a little back seat and let him do a little more work because he's actually like pretty smart with the game.
All right, now let's talk a little about you and your Annie pick, because not a lot of people like to play Annie mid. It's played a little bit differently towards the mid and late game. What is your philosophy? What are you trying to bring to the team with the Annie pick?
I don't know. The Annie pick is just kind of happen chance. The last time we played it, the first split, I played it the day before in scrims, and I happened to get the Karthus versus Annie matchup, and then we played Dig, and they picked Karthus, so I picked Annie. Yesterday was the first day I played Annie. Again.
In a year.
In a year. I haven't played her since then. Maybe support or something like that. But then yesterday I was like, I think we should do Annie mid, just in case they pick Yasuo. And then we did it in scrims, and 2 games in a row they picked Yasuo. And I was like, oh, sweet, now I get to practice Annie mid. And then they first picked Yasuo, and we were like, oh, this is just perfect. Like, how did this happen again? This is 2 times in a row I played Annie mid, practicing for the exact matchup I got the next day.
All right, so it just kind of worked out that way. Now, you guys, when are you guys going to get Broken Shard back? And have you been doing a similar thing where you've stayed in contact with him to keep him up to date on what's going on with the team?
Yeah, Broken actually like listens into our comms and stuff, and he's kind of nitpicking some of our scrims and stuff like that. But I think he's had problems with the visa and stuff like that, so I'm actually not positive on when we're actually going to get our jungler back, which is pretty sad. But yeah, that's what it's.
All right, well, tough break there, but congratulations and good luck tomorrow with LMQ. We are now going to send it back up to the guys at the desk.
I have to wonder now, if he played the matchup,
Yeah.
did he die each time right in the beginning?
Was it against a Pantheon jungle?
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure. I mean, this whole day in the NA LCS was just absolutely absolutely awesome. there may be a little bit of a let-off in this last game between Complexity and Curse, but that was just because Complexity was playing so solid throughout the game. It really does make us excited, or me personally excited, for what's going to happen now that we have a 3-way tie for first that doesn't involve TSM and Cloud9, because I know those teams are going to be coming back.
Right, and we were sitting in the green room earlier, and we kind of said, like, this is the 1 game apart day. If everybody wins this, it'll be the L teams have played each other, and then you kind of can formulate what happens during the split. Absolutely not after today. You're just like, well, that's out the window.
Yeah,
can't be doing that. But Complexity really showing that they are a team to be reckoned with here, especially that style of play. Another team, could have tried to go back against them, but they had good map control, and the early sight stones has definitely been kind of getting in people's minds as more teams are doing it.
Yeah, and we just heard Prawley talking about how maybe they won't have Broken Shard back, but they have a pretty good substitute in the meanwhile, because Kez fit in great with the team right off the bat. You could tell maybe his experience, the calls he was making, the confidence to come in and just come into a new team and just start making calls. It takes a certain type of individual that's willing to do that. And they're really lucky to find such a quality substitute.
And that situation in itself is a huge win. Complexity coming in the first 3 weeks. Super week, they had everyone. The second week, Probably was out. The third week, they're losing their jungler. It's almost like you're digging yourself a hole to start the LCS. But they found their way out of that one, and it didn't hurt too much. So before we send it over to the North American Challenger Series, let's take a look at how the teams stand in the LCS after another 4 games.
Yeah, in first place, it's a 3-way tie with CLG, Dignitas, and LMQ. Cloud9 is in 4th with 4 wins and now 3 losses.
Then in 5th, it's Team Solo Mid, and giving our standings symmetry. It's another 3-way tie for the last place with Complexity, Team Curse, and Evil Geniuses. Of course, we will be back again tomorrow with another full day of matches, starting with Cloud9 taking on Chronologic Gaming.
Followed by LMQ versus Complexity, which anything could happen. Then Evil Geniuses face off against Dignitas. Then we'll conclude our LCS day with Team Curse battling it out against Team Solo Mid.
That all gets underway Sunday at noon Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central European Summer Time. But for now, we're going to pass the reins over to Freak and Zyrene for the North American Challenger Series.